Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play team. This actual play uses the 7th edition Call of Cthulhu tabletop role-playing game rules by Chaosium. This actual play is performed by adults and in an adult setting. While we try very hard to stick to language for all ages, listeners should know that this podcast may include mature themes. All content, including names, places, events, companies, and etc., that may bear resemblance to entities living or dead, is strictly coincidental. My name is Michael Diamond, and for tonight's game, I will be your keeper. Thank you for joining us again on another episode of the Old Ways podcast. I'm your keeper, Mike, and we return to Horror on the Orient Express, where tonight we have perhaps a church to break into, but more on that later. So we would like to get to introductions because we have a very, very, very fun show for you planned. So to my right.
Hello, this is Mike, and I'm playing James Robert Fraser, who has been a little inappropriate.
Yes, so castigated by your employer is one way to break up the middle portion of your day, I'm sure. And so to Mr. Fraser's right.
Hi, I'm Rena. I play Lady Elizabeth Fitzroy, and I've had a perfectly marvelous afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, all except for the whole personal assistant getting all touchy-feely. Things have been pretty good, right? I mean, you could have a worse day. You could have a way worse day.
And I have had way worse days.
We'll get to that later, trust me. At the end of the table.
Hi, this is Giles, and I'm playing Simon Griffith, and I feel that I've been left behind in the church.
I mean, I can't find fault in your statement there, sir. Not at all. But I'm sure that someone will come around to collect you shortly. To Mr. Griffith's right.
Hi, I'm Miranda, and I play Maggie Bellinger, and I'm finding myself quite entranced by Richard's chest.
You know what's funny? It is very difficult for you now to break up your interest between the simulacrum's torso and the, rather colorful plumage of Richard's chest. Last but most certainly not least.
I'm Martin, and I'm playing Richard Courtney. And Richard has one more thing to add to his list of things to be worried about.
My, what would that be?
Those flutes.
Oh, flutes. Yes, you've taken them quite reckless abandon last episode. I'm sure you'll never hear them again.
No, why would I?
Why would you indeed? So as we raise the curtain tonight, we pick up right alongside James Robert Fraser, who is hoofing his way in a respectable fashion toward the Basilica, on the lookout for his partner in crime or in truth, one Simon Griffith.
Yes, I think Mr. Fraser is maybe not walking as briskly as is his usual fashion. He's rather regretting his hasty action in order to try and ascertain whether her ladyship was actually feeling quite herself. But he has a purpose now, so he's going to focus on that. And I think by the time he reaches the Basilica, he's probably perked up a little bit because he's got a man to find in the church. So kind of make my way in and just walk around looking out for Simon.
It's not terribly hard to find after a walk around the exterior portion, or I should say the perimeter of the interior for that matter, given the way the Basilica is created. You do find him in a rather gloomy chapel. He seems to be staring at the stones on the floor, and you see him move from kind of left to right throughout the room, looking at some different portions of these stones as if he's trying to examine them.
Mr. Griffith.
What?
Shh. Would you mind? Keep your voice down, sir. You're in a church.
You scared the hell out of me, son. I'm very focused here, okay? Jim,
how are you faring?
I'm glad you found me. I found it.
You found it? Oh, splendid.
It's between these walls right here. Couldn't tell you which one yet.
Oh, so it's in this particular chapel?
It is. So I was examining things here waiting for someone to come back for me about 2 hours ago. And look at this statue of the saint up there.
Well, yes, that can wait for a moment. I just want to...
Look at the statue of the saint up there.
Professor Courtney is well. He is in the hotel. He has been through something of an experience, but he is well. I just came to reassure you that he is in no immediate danger.
Oh, totally slipped my mind. I was pretty focused on this. I'm really sorry about that. I'm really glad to hear that the professor as well. So the professor vanished in front of me.
So I heard. Aye. He was trying on the device, the sextant, whatever it is you call it.
And he ended up where?
Well, I don't... Well, he ended up back at his hotel room with a rather peculiar odour to him and what appeared to be smoke coming out of him. But Paul is looking after him, so you can set your mind at rest. He's in good hands. Now, how are you faring in the search here?
So I was focused on trying to find this thing because seeing the professor disappear like that honestly freaked me out.
Well, I can understand. I have to say, though, with all due respect, Simon, I'm not quite sure why you allowed him to try out the device in such a public area.
I was watching him. I was covering for him. I'm a large gentleman, and so he was going to try it on to see if he could track some of the threads, because it's a big basilica. And I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, I hear whimpering behind me as I'm screening him, like you would with any officer, and turn around, and he's surrounded by stars and space, and these arms reach out, pull at him, and he poofs into smoke. Arms.
Oh my, that does not sound good at all. Did anybody else see this happen but you?
I don't believe so. As I said, I am a large individual.
Well, that is a good thing. That is a good thing. Yes, well, it is. It's. I suppose it's good to know that there is more to this device than simply a way of seeing things. As clearly, it has other properties which are considerably more dangerous.
I don't think these are good things. But I was trying to take my mind off of it, because if the professor disappeared and we lost him forever, then we would never be able to finish our mission.
Well, we haven't lost him forever, so you can rest easy on that score. Now, you say that you found it. It's somewhere in this chapel. What was it you were trying to draw my attention to there?
I distracted myself and focused on looking for the black stones.
I see.
So this is an older section of the basilica, from what I am able to ascertain, and this chapel here is not well lit for this saint. And what I saw here, besides, as you can see, the stones here, in what little light we have, are darker than many of the others in the basilica, sir.
Yes, yes, I see. They do appear to be slightly different.
And if you look at the statue of the saint there, for I guess it's how they became a saint, what do you see missing?
Let's have a wee look then. What is this? I don't recognize this. No, I don't think I know who this particular... Oh, good Lord. I see what you mean. His leg.
His left leg.
Scusi. You hear over your shoulder.
Buongiorno.
Stiamo chiudendo. He points to the way you came in. Stiamo chiudendo.
Scusi, parlo inglese?
We close for the evening.
Oh, I see. I understand. 5 minutes, perhaps?
He steps back a little bit.
Grazie. Molto grazie.
So
We haven't much time. Yes, show me quickly.
understood. I picked up on your gesture. So this is a Saint Isidoro. I spoke with a tour guide who was coming through here. And this dates back to I want to say the 12th century, if I remember correctly. So perhaps you or Lady E can use your marvelous skills with books and figure out more about this Saint Isidoro, but I'm betting it's in here, by the stones. Now, my problem is you can see there is not much light in this chapel, and I'm going to need to bring a better light source next time.
Yes, I see. Well, let's have a quick. We've got 5 minutes. Let's have a quick look about, see what we can do in the time we have.
4 minutes now.
And I will have a look around as closely as I can in the little time that we have.
Okay.
And to see if I can see what looks like possibly like this black paving slab or black paving stone that we've heard about.
The spot hidden series of rolls for finding the paving stone, half of it's been done because you assume anyway that your compatriot has led you to the correct place.
Sure. I mean, it looks like it could be, yeah.
He has made a strong case for it being in this location. So if you'd like to give me a spot hidden roll, you can.
Absolutely, yeah. Looking for a hard success or a...
You are looking for a hard success, given the time of day and the floor pattern.
Alrighty. Okay, so my spot hidden is 80. That is not a hard success. That is a 66.
You do have a fair spot. So, of course, you are allowed to push the roll, should you so choose.
Oh, blimey, that went so well the last time.
But I'm not there to give you a telling off this time, so I'm sure it'll be fine.
There's a museum curator hovering, or not a museum curator. There's a well, I don't know quite who it is. A security guard of some kind or something, or perhaps a priest, hovering, waiting to throw us out. So,
you do feel the look you know well, having been in churches before, of perhaps a member of clergy who would like you to move along now.
Are there candles here?
There are very few candles here.
Okay, then. So I'm going to whisper to Simon. Simon, would you mind distracting that fellow just for a moment? And I'm going to wait till his glance is elsewhere, and then I'm going to go and take a candle out of a candle holder, wherever they might be, and use that as a little bit of extra light while I kind of scan the floor of of this particular chapel.
Very well. Because you're willing to press the issue, to throw your lot in with fate itself, fate will smile on you as well and give you advantage on this roll.
Wow, thank you very much. So I'm looking to hit a 40. So we shall see what we shall see. Fingers crossed. Okay, so unfortunately the Hand of Fate did not help me there at all, because I got a 73 or a 73.
So you've located the stone. It's right there. It's directly parallel to the right-hand portion of this chapel area, and you are convinced that that stone is the one. It makes total sense because it's just slightly lighter in color than some of the other stones that are here. And so you're figuring, oh, that's right. It's this one because it's likely been replaced.
So I think as he is crouched down, scanning the floor with this candle, holding it fairly close to the floor, when he sees what he realizes to be the very paving stone that they're looking for, his attention is diverted by that for a moment. Maybe in a little moment of excitement, he doesn't realize that the candle is dripping wax. It drips wax onto his other hand, and it lets out a sharp cry with the burning sensation of the wax in his hand, and drops the candle and jumps back up to his feet. Ow!
You jump back up to your feet. You instantly look up, and you meet the gaze of the clergy member who cautioned you before. And you see his swift and immediate gesture towards the front.
Scusi. I'm terribly sorry. Do apologise. I'll be leaving now. Come along, Mr. Griffith. I think we need to be on our way just now. Scusi.
The clergy member sweeps into the room
so.
and moves around you to go to where this dropped candle is in an attempt to clean up the mess you've left.
And yeah, I think Fraser shall back away hurriedly and grab Simon by the arm and say, "Come on, let's go before we cause any more attention draw any more attention to ourselves."
All right, Jim, we're going to have some words back at the hotel.
Oh, are we? Aye, all right then. Well, I found it, if you're interested.
I am interested, and we can come back for it, and the professor's supposedly safe. I'll have to see. And we're also being stalked by another predator around here, so we have to talk with everyone about what's going on.
Who is stalking us?
Let's get back, and I'll talk to you. We kind of got to get out of the church at the moment.
Kind of hurry out of the church.
Two of you make your way out of the church.
Who is stalking us, Simon?
Her ladyship's brother is.
Yes, I know that. Who else?
No, that's who I meant. The thing is,
right.
While
I thought you said another person was stalking us.
Oh, I just said there's another predator. Now, the thing about all this.
Well, who is this other predator? We have her ladyship's brother is here, and who else? Did you see somebody in the church?
No, but we'll talk about this. Now, the question is, we're trying to find this. We don't know if he's trying to find it, but we do know he is trying to cause problems for you and Lady E. And we cannot be distracted, like having our focus in one direction, like I just did, and not paying attention to our hindquarters. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I'm sorry, I don't follow what you're meaning. Are you meaning we should be on the lookout for this fellow Fitzgeorge or whatever he's calling himself now?
Yes.
Aye, well, with all due respect, Simon, I have been.
I understand you have been, but I'm just worried something's going to happen. I was left here. We watched the professor as we were all running around. He could have done anything. I'm just thinking. And I'm thinking about the professor now, and I'm thinking about the stone and how we're going to get it. And damn it all, there's just too much going on in my head.
I'm honestly, I'm not following you, Simon. Are you saying that we should have taken different action earlier on than we did? And if so, what?
No, I'm just talking out loud and confusing the hell out of myself at this point.
Let's go back to the hotel and have a wee cup of tea and a sit down, and we'll figure things out. I appreciate what you're saying. We do indeed have two different things to concern us while we're here in Venice. We don't know what this fellow is up to, or what his game is, why he's here. Maybe he is in some way connected to the business with the simulacrum. I really don't know. As far as I'm aware, he's simply a ne'er-do-well who's attempting to usurp her ladyship's brother and claim the title for himself or something, or at the very least drag the family name through the dirt. And we'll have none of that.
Okay, so I'm going to take it from here if you don't mind. The three of you who are at the hotel currently, Professor and Maggie, will look in on you two first. Paul doesn't find anything immediately amiss with you, other than the fact that you have somehow, some way, contracted some sort of discoloration, specific discoloration to the flesh on your chest. For your part, Maggie, it is a rather curious thing to investigate. Paul eventually does leave, probably in the next 5 to 10 minutes after he has persuaded his medical mind. He does think that you should rest. He's opened a window to let fresh air in and to get this strange foul smell out. Professor, for your part, you're fairly weak as far as your energy level goes, and you feel gnawing in your stomach, and you're reminded very deeply of the worms because it feels the same.
Oh no, not more worms.
Am I correct in that Richard's bed's broken as well?
Yes. So you're not sure how that happened exactly, but it looks like what it looks like to you, honestly, Maggie, is it looks like 2 or 3 kids were jumping up and down on Richard's bed and broke it. There must have been a serious and significant, vigorous movement placed on the bed frame, and it's broken.
Maggie wasn't even here for it. Richard, are you feeling okay? Do you probably need to lie down?
Well, yes, I feels like I've been to hell and back.
Do we need to get you a different room? You could take mine if you'd like, and I'd stay with Lady Elizabeth, or...
Oh, I'm sure if I just put the mattress on the floor, I'll be fine, thank you. I wouldn't want to put you to any bother, you understand?
I'm sure we could explain this to the staff and possibly get you a different room, but if you prefer to sleep on the floor, I guess that's your choice.
Well, I mean, there is a mattress there. I wouldn't want to draw attention to us. Well, I mean, I feel we do enough of that already.
Lady Elizabeth, for your part, your room is just as you left it, not but a little while ago. Although, even walking back into your own room, you feel a little different.
Yes. I take a nice deep breath, clear away thoughts of Mr. Fraser being inappropriate. I'm not going to let that spoil my afternoon.
No, not when you have so many other thoughts to flood their way back in.
Yes. So, I am going to change, because I don't have the same scent of perfume I had when I left this morning, and I don't want any questions.
It is very true.
So I'll change into something more appropriate for what I was wearing this morning, going to the library and everything, and then I'm going to regretfully go have a word with the professor.
Okay. You prepare yourself, take a little time, and just as you're arriving at the door to knock on it, you can see from the balcony down here, the lower staircase and some of the entranceway of the hotel. You can see down there through the doors that Simon and Mr. Fraser are arriving. So you probably have a few minutes before they arrive here. But you're there at the professor's door. I don't know. I wish Paul would have closed it out of respect.
Leaving Maggie and Richard unsupervised in a closed room? How scandalous.
To be fair, Paul is not her supervisor.
A single man and a single woman alone in a bedroom in a hotel? What do you think this is, the 1930s?
Paul's as liberal as Maggie is. Come on now.
Yeah, it's just, so the door is shut, and you can hear them talking through it. So there's obviously people in there.
I'll politely knock on the door with one eyebrow raised.
Maggie will come to the door.
You open it, and there's Lady Elizabeth.
Oh, Lady Elizabeth, you're awake. Good. You must come see Richard's chest.
What?
You must come see his chest. It's changed.
So, looking in the door, Lady Elizabeth, over Maggie's shoulder, you see Richard, the shirt is slightly unbuttoned. You can't really see terribly much of what's going on over there because your eyes are directly drawn to the fact that the bed appears broken.
Well, Miss Bellinger, it appears we've both had a rather active afternoon.
Yes, I was running all over the place because Richard went missing. He disappeared into nothingness, and then he reappeared here in his room, I'm assuming on his bed because it's broken.
Is that what they're calling it now?
I don't know what else they would call it. But quick, come in. Richard, undo your shirt a little more.
Well...
I avert my eyes.
If you insist. Richard unbuttons another button.
Scandalous. You avert your eyes, although, times being what they are, it is at least strange that the top of his collar has such a coloration to it, from a purely scientific standpoint, and perhaps even a mystical standpoint.
Were we practicing finger painting?
Look, it's just like his eyes.
I think I can't resist my curiosity at this point, and I'll turn back over to look at him.
Yeah, it's not finger paints. It's thread strands that have been woven in this almost collar sort of imagery. Not collar like a dog per se, but it wraps around the front part of his neck down across his collarbone in these very sharp points. Come to almost these triangles. And in every single one of these sharp points are a series of colorful threads along. It's like Richard's been embroidered.
Better be careful there, Professor, or people will start to assume you're one of the bright young things. I sort of cock my head and look a little bit closer. How did you do this?
Well, all I can remember is many hands and the feeling of being torn apart but back together again. And there was some lava, some flutes of all things, and calming music, a big purple thing that had so many eyes and a mouth. Oh, when I think back to it, that I had the sensation I was about to be devoured. It was all I could do to will myself away, and the next thing I know, Paul and Maggie were tending to me on the bed, which is apparently broken. More than that, I don't know.
Well, breaking one's bed in the process of being devoured doesn't sound entirely unpleasant.
Oh, if you'd seen what was trying to devour me, I think you'd think something else, but, it was, I've never seen so many eyes on... It was quite horrific.
Gentlemen, after a few flights of stairs, you enter the hallway, and you see that the professor's door is slightly ajar, and you arrive on scene.
To find Lady Elizabeth and Maggie examining the professor's chest.
I've gone to get a cup of tea.
It's probably a good idea.
Professor?
I'll stop off at the reception desk, I think, on the way up and ask for some tea to be brought up to our rooms.
So Simon would be first.
Professor, you okay?
No, I'm not.
What the hell happened?
I'm just going to answer that and say I don't know.
I thought we'd lost you.
No, I'm afraid he was transported again. Yes, it was most unpleasant. I don't know.
Does the room still smell of barbecue?
Well, more like sulfur, perhaps a little bit of, perhaps barbecue, slightly cooked meat.
Professor?
Yes?
There are things I cannot protect you from, and I have to get you and Miss Maggie to the end.
Well, I fear I was almost at the end a little while ago.
But not at the end of the mission.
No, I fear this was somewhat of a more permanent, or maybe infinite end. It was truly horrible.
Well, Mr. Fraser is coming with some tea. We need to talk after the door is shut, so we have to wait for him first. But we have news.
Yeah, seems fair enough time to enter Mr. Fraser. Enter the scene, you silly boy.
So I think after he has requested that some tea be brought up, he'll head up to see what's to do. And I guess if the door is slightly ajar, then he'll poke his head in and say, How is everything?
Come in, Mr. Fraser. The professor seems to be intact.
Well, you could say for his bed, though.
Professor Courtney, how are you feeling?
Not well.
Are you able to tell us what happened to you?
Yes. And Richard will explain what happened to him.
Good Lord. I mean, are you sure it wasn't some kind of a dream, a hallucination or something?
Well, take a look at my chest. I mean, how on earth is that a dream?
Mr. Fraser will kind of avert his eyes slightly. I really don't know, Professor. I don't understand these things. As far as I can gather, one moment you were in the Basilica, and the next you were here in your room. I simply can't explain it. Your ladyship, do you have any glimmer of understanding in what happened to the professor here?
Well, I have certainly never seen anything quite like it. And as I said, when his eyes started doing the same thing, I can't quite correlate it to anything in my readings. But I'm still researching.
Are Richard's eyes still odd? Have they been looking strange this whole time, yeah?
Oh, yes. I mean, it really only comes across when you're close to him, like within, we'll say, 3 to 4 feet, and you know what you're looking for, but it seems that his upper collar chest area has that same sort of embroidered or threaded glow now.
I wonder, Professor, of course you have researched this contraption, whatever it is, in some detail, but I wonder if it's perhaps taking a rather unhealthy toll on you. I think it might be wise if you kept the use of it to an absolute minimum.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it was Professor Smith's desire that I should try to work out what it was for, and I mean, it's been of some use so far. I take your point.
But it could kill you.
Yes, I think it could.
I think, if I may make so bold, I think perhaps, given that we do not have a full understanding of what its purpose actually is, and it may be wise to only use it in extreme need, rather than as as a simple telescope, magnifying glass, or what have you. It is quite clearly not a mundane item. That it has definitely been taking its toll on you, and I rather worry that yes, indeed, as you say, it might have a very, very serious effect on you if you continue to use it willy-nilly.
I have an odd question on this, but did Dr. Julius figure anything out about this before he handed it off to you?
Well, I believe he had some theories, and I was rather hoping to get some notes he was completing before we left, but he didn't, and I keep a close eye on the mail, hoping that he might send them along, but nothing yet, I'm afraid. He did say he had made some discoveries, but I'm just not aware as to what they are.
I'm just wondering. I mean, well, we're kind of moving, so it's hard to get mail on our end. But have you wired him anything?
I mean, I've written to him twice, but I've not. Well, I mean, I've not received any telegrams or any mail, should we say.
And were his eyes or chest messed up like yours?
I'm going to stick with the short answer and say no on that one. I've had some dreams and experiences, and I didn't appear to be altered in those either. Although certainly the environment around him was akin to this. I mean, as it was on the train, if you recall.
I hear you. I'm just wondering, because you're becoming a guinea pig for this thing. And we need to get you to the end with this device so you can use this device once we assemble it and destroy it as we are supposed to. But my concern is you and the device will not reach the end at this rate.
I mean, your concern is touching. However, I'm also aware we don't know how this thing works at the moment, and were we to need it in an emergency, I mean, I've only uncovered a small fraction of its capability. Surely if it is of necessity, then I should continue. I must find out what it does, what its full function is.
I believe my Aunt Edith always says something that applies here. We can't borrow problems from tomorrow. We must deal with what's ahead of us right now, without worrying about what's going to happen to us that far in the future.
Besides, all scientific inquiry involves a little bit of risk.
Look before you leap, I believe the phrase has it.
Yes, well, I shall certainly be a little more cautious.
I hear all this spoken by people who aren't the ones who are being told. We're going to do this investigation. Now you, go do the investigation.
Professor,
I think we've all been doing quite a bit of investigating.
Yes, of course. That reminds me. I believe I've found the paving slab.
And how long were you going to wait to tell us this bit of news, Mr. Fraser?
I'm terribly sorry. The business with the professor and his unusual experience quite drove it out of my mind. We were politely escorted off the premises for reasons I won't go into. But I do believe that there is a small chapel in the basilica dedicated to Saint Isidora, or Saint Isidoro, I'm not quite sure which, but the mural on the wall of this saint, the painting in the chapel of this saint, depicts him to have how would you best describe it, Simon? His leg was,
His leg was torn off.
Aye, torn off, aye.
He was being tortured and pulled apart by horses tied to him.
Martyred.
And his left leg was missing. And when I was hunting around, this is the one part of the basilica where it's all dark stones all around the foundation, the walls, the flooring. And I was able to get us there, but I was not able to discern which stone was the correct one because of the lack of light. But Mr. Fraser believes he has found the correct stone.
I believe I've located it. They've closed up the basilica for the night, which, it rather leads me on to the question of how do we proceed from here? Do we take advantage of the fact that the place is closed up and there are no tourists or worshippers there in order to do some, a little bit of light breaking and entering?
Mr. Fraser, I thought you'd never ask. I would be happy to be your accomplice.
Do we know what this saint was martyred for?
I don't. I'm afraid I'm. The litany of saints and martyrs is not exactly what I'd call my speciality.
Well, we have another option too. First thing is the professor is in no way, shape, or form moving anywhere this evening. I'm sorry, Professor, but you look like garbage.
I feel somewhat worse.
But very shiny rainbow garbage.
Now, the thing is, what we can do is this. We were escorted off the premises. Yes, we can break back in there tonight. That's entirely possible. Or, Lady E can use her book smarts and figure out who St. Isidoro was. And then tomorrow night, we can case the joint, find a place of entry, go in, pop the stone, exit, and we're good.
Perhaps we could enter again tomorrow and hide inside until after close, and then we would not be breaking in. We wouldn't be breaking and entering, we would be breaking and exiting.
That's fair too. Again, it's point of entry. But you see, this gives us time to figure out who the St. Isidoro was.
So anyone with occult can roll.
Excellent.
I mean, we could always ask somebody.
Success, 40 under 60.
Okay. Saint Isidore eventually becomes Saint Isidoro, and he was an officer in the Roman Navy. He confessed himself as a Christian to the commander of the fleet that they were in around the Aegean island of Chios, and because he was unwilling to repent and worship the gods of the state, he was tormented, beheaded, and eventually ripped apart, where his body was thrown into a cistern afterwards. According to legend, at this point, all The trees south of this cistern shed tears for him, and it is in such that his remains eventually are returned to the Venetian Basilica of St. Mark, which contains a small chapel with is rumored to have his sarcophagus.
Well, I will relay that information to my colleagues.
Yeah.
Trees weeping, that sort of thing.
Aye, indeed. Quite fanciful. But,
Oh, yes.
there we are.
He was, in fact, a person. It's interesting that the mural would show the removal of just one limb in particular, considering everything else they did to him. But perhaps that is why our Frenchman decided to bury it here.
Well, how old was is this painting in the chapel?
Well, the tour guide told me this was about 1200.
Oh, I see.
12th century. I am sorry. I guess that's the 1100s.
Well, it's entirely possible that Guillaume just buried it at that particular place as a marker, in case he ever needed to go back for it.
Indeed, aye. It's almost like a X marks the spot kind of.
Someone's been reading their Stevenson?
What self-respecting Scot hasn't?
Okay, so my question to the five of you is this. Are you planning on waiting a full day and then entering the basilica during the day to allow yourself essentially free entry, or an opportunity to, more importantly, an opportunity to hide inside the basilica and then pop out at night and do your duty? Or are you instead going to attempt to avail yourself of the dark streets of Venice and somehow gain entry to the basilica this evening?
When the others were looking around it, trying to find this stone, did they see anywhere that might look like somewhere that you could sort of secrete 2 or 3 people into reasonably well?
Not 2 or 3 people, but if it would be possible, and I'm not sure how much Maggie really looked for hiding spots, but given Simon's background and his concern for, the small spaces that he's very used to, some of these chapels Simon would probably fit, but you're not talking about fitting 1 or 2 or 3 people. You're talking about one person likely hiding and then having to stay hidden for however long after the basilica closes officially. Because of course there will be people there to clean up after the tourists. Given your knowledge and your abilities and skills, it's a harder preposition than just saying we'll go hide in there. It's not as simple, straightforward as that.
If there is somewhere, I didn't get a particularly good look around the whole of the church, the basilica itself. But if there is somewhere that you think might be suitable for someone to secrete themselves for however long it takes, I do have some experience in that kind of thing. I'd be more than happy to volunteer to do so if that's everyone's wish.
I'm a little concerned that we've had others following in our footsteps before. Who's to say that waiting another day wouldn't lead to someone else maybe making this discovery before us?
Yes, that is rather my concern as well, considering he who I will not name appears to be in town. So I don't think we should give him any more lead time than he might already have.
All right, so tonight it is. If we're going to do this, one of us has to stay outside, and 1 or 2 have to go inside.
I will be going inside.
All right. Anyone else going with Maggie?
Miss Bellinger, you will have to remain still and silent for potentially some considerable length of time.
Well, are we talking about doing it right now, or are we talking about waiting till tomorrow and then doing it?
I believe this evening, Mr. Griffith, because if we wait much longer, we give him a chance to break in ahead of us.
I hear you, in which case, Jim she won't have to be quiet still for quite a while.
Aye, yes. I was thinking you were still meaning plan A, so to speak.
No, we just let Maggie loose, and she will take care of some stuff. And
We let Maggie loose on an unsuspecting basilica. Is that what you...
I believe that falls under the heading of war crimes.
so the options we have, Miss Maggie and I break in and retrieve the item, since she has an affinity for these items. And you have an affinity for shooting people with the rifle from high places. And you can watch the doors, right?
Well,
Literally, you could probably watch the basilica from our windows of the hotel with your rifle.
I think there are a few buildings in the way between the two. However, there is a particularly fine vantage point in the square itself. The bell tower.
Well, there you go, sir.
Whether or not that's open to the public and I'll be able to get in is quite another matter.
Richard, do you feel up for it tonight, or will you be staying back and resting? You've had a big day.
Yes, I believe the wise thing to do would be to rest.
That would be the understatement of the year, a big day.
Before you do that, though, Professor, given that Paul looked over you, he would have had the time to make a medicine roll. Well, he doesn't necessarily know that you are hurt in the same way. He can attempt to restore some of your hit points, which he does too, sir. So over the time that you've had to discuss with your fellow compatriots, when someone asks how you're feeling, you don't feel great, but you're certainly not completely down in the dumps. You're just tired is what it is. You need a good cup of tea and perhaps a moment to think about how you might be useful in such a situation, if at all.
Maybe I could, I don't know, stand outside and, I don't know, maybe watch the comings and goings of the canal, and or at least appear to.
Oh, yes, you can help Mr. Fraser keep watch, and there we should have a signal, some sort of bird noise, if anything were to happen, so that we know that you've seen something.
So here's what I want to know. I would like to know, beyond Maggie, who is breaking in. Okay, so Simon and Maggie who are going to do the breaking in, yes. And then Mr. Fraser and the professor are going to be keeping watch in some shape or form, yes?
Yes.
And Lady Elizabeth is going to be enjoying a hot cup of tea, or what is she doing exactly, if anything?
Other than enjoying all of the rambling discussion that's going on.
Yes.
Yes. So, I think I'm rather feeling the need for some adventure this evening. So, I think, Mr. Griffith, Miss Bellinger, I might accompany you.
Excellent. And so what I would like to know is, we'll say it's about 3:30 at this point. At what time would you be setting out? We'll say that sunset and actual evening comes, given the time of year, probably around 7 or 8 o'clock.
Well, I think the witching hour is the time for this kind of adventure, don't you?
I didn't think you believed in such things, Mr. Fraser.
Who is this Mr. Fraser of which you speak?
Yes, later likely would be better.
I would say we should wait until it's dark at least, and most people have made their way home for the evening.
Yes.
Very well. And so at such an appointed time, after you've prepared, right? So for those of you who are going to actually go in, I'd like to get an idea of what accoutrement you might be bringing with you, any specific tools or weaponry or etc.
Do we still have a crowbar anywhere amongst us? I believe we have used them in the past.
I guess I would just ask, does anyone have a crowbar on their inventory?
I mean, I definitely don't have a crowbar on my inventory.
I certainly
Mr.
don't.
Fraser doesn't carry a crowbar with him, no.
No, but I think it's reasonable that Mr. Griffith might have one.
Would you like me to make a luck roll?
Absolutely not. You have one.
Okay.
Let's just be beyond it. So
I'm taking my walking stick, as it is proven most useful for driving off people I don't want around me.
certainly.
I am not bringing the pistol.
Okay.
Maggie is mostly going to be bringing her charming smile in case we run into anyone that I need to convince that we are not up to anything at all.
Well, here's a thought. Miss Ballinger, you could perhaps disguise yourself as a nun, and Mr. Griffith, you could disguise yourself as a priest. That was a joke.
I know, I was
Fair
trying to think of
Yeah, I
a
was
nun, a priest, and Lady Elizabeth walk into St. Mark's Basilica.
She's definitely not a rabbi.
I'm just picturing at the very beginning inside the basilica, there's like priest and this nun slowly walking by, and then they get yoinked into the shadows, and Simon and Maggie start walking out.
So here's what I'd like. Getting into the basilica at night is not a simple task.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like you to tell me your approach, and then by that approach, I will set a series of challenges in front of you, which may or may not be determined by rolls randomly generated by polyhedrals.
Simon was there much longer than Maggie was. So I would probably lean on Simon for some direction as to how he thinks where the greatest points of entry would be. Or perhaps, are they doing any work on the outside? Is there any scaffolding?
No, nothing so convenient.
Well, I'm sure they have a side door of some sort. It's not going to be just one door. There may be a door for the priests or a vestry or something like that. I mean, even the churches back home in Appalachia had a side or back door. Now, does anyone have any skill with locks? Because I do not. I prefer to break them.
I believe Richard's the only one.
Yes, I could probably help you get in, but I don't think I'm really up for a full escapade inside.
I'm not asking you to. Can you pop the lock for us, Professor?
I could certainly try.
So, Simon, you would have seen in some of your movements around the basilica that it does have one or two side entrances, again, most likely used for the faithful who work there.
Yeah, we don't want to go in through the front door because I'm sure those are double doors that are large, probably make noise when they're opened. Yeah, we'll go to a side door, which is probably a single door in most cases. Well, I'm sure there's at least a single door. There may be a larger service door in the back somewhere too, but regardless of the fact, I'm sorry, I'm tangenting.
It's okay.
We go to a small door with Richard, dressed in comfy, dark clothes, pop the lock, and the three of us will venture in. That's
the plan. Very good. So I would ask you, Mr. Fraser, where will you be positioned while all of this, this is going on?
Yeah, I think. So, considering the fact that the bell tower is an excellent vantage point from the point of view of a rifleman, however, it may be difficult to get into. And it will certainly be time-consuming to come down from if required in a hurry. So I think he and Richard will probably head possibly for two different sides of the square. It really depends on which entrance they're able to use. But I think to be able to have a secluded place on a nearby street with which to watch the entrances of the church, just to make sure that nobody either follows them or nobody goes in maybe by another entrance that might surprise them.
Certainly.
And then one of us can then just sort of sneak in and warn them that somebody's coming.
Okay, so here's what I'd like. I would like the professor to make a locksmith roll. It is a hard difficulty. I would like Mr. Fraser to make for me a spot hidden roll. After those two rolls are resolved, we can talk about any further stealth rolls. And just so that we're not completely fickle, the Hand of Fate's going to put you at advantage for this, Professor.
That's good, because Richard doesn't have a particularly good skill in locksmith.
Probably better than anyone else's.
Here we go. Different dice. Ooh. That's a 55 and a 65, and Richard only has 24.
Okay. So it's a simple failure.
Well,
Push the roll.
that's what I was thinking. Maybe Richard can try a little bit harder. Maggie, do you have one of your hairpins again?
Yes, I was just about to suggest that, actually. Here you go. Maggie will pull one out of her hair.
Great minds think alike and all that.
Go ahead and push the roll, Professor.
Is that pushed with advantage or just normal?
I think we'll let the advantage stay. That's fine with me. It's the same roll.
That's what I was thinking. I don't believe it.
I don't until you tell me.
No, so I rolled 18, which wouldn't be enough, and 08, which would be.
Fantastic. So with the blessing of Saint Maggie and her hairpin, you manage to find your way around in the dark in this lock, and very delicately and very carefully get the door to unseize.
Perfect.
You
and
don't even lose a hairpin.
no, it's I've not even bent it, Maggie. Thank you very much.
Would you like me also to make a spot hidden? At this point?
Absolutely.
Is this at a particular difficulty level?
Yeah, it's at a hard difficulty level. Yep.
Okay, here we go again. Let's hope I do a little bit better this time than I did the last. No, I didn't. I rolled a 90.
Well, so far,
In the spirit of adventure,
certainly.
I think Fraser realizes that he's not got himself into a very good position for this. So he is going to cross the road, and there's I'll say there's a little flight of steps up to a small landing, which gives him a much better angle to watch as this lock is being worked on by Richard. So he will stay low to the ground, move across the street, and climb up the few steps up to the point, and peer round the corner of the building over the small railing that is there at the up the top of this little 3 or 4 step flight of 3 or 4 steps.
Certainly. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that was not a success.
Understood. So I suppose it's important to point out that you don't really see anything out of the ordinary in the square.
Fair enough.
There's a little bit of rain, just slight, not terrible. It's a bit overcast this evening, and there's a bit of a smell from the nearby canal. But other than that, you don't see much more.
So I'll just sort of stay crouched where I am. Hopefully I've got myself into a reasonably good position where I won't be observed.
So, Simon and Maggie, you may enter the basilica, and upon doing so, you will be required to make a stealth roll.
Don't forget Lady E.
Oh, right, she's coming as well.
Yes.
Cane and all. So the 3 of you, my apologies.
Feeling adventurous today.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. 15. That's got to be a success, right? Let's see.
I would think
Yep,
so.
15 under 20.
Mm-hmm.
Marvelous.
Mike,
Yes, sir.
Ought 1.
Congratulations. We like odd ones.
I rolled a 61.
Out of
50.
Spend the luck.
That's a lot of luck. No, it's fine. I have a ton of luck. I'll spend it.
Well, why don't you push it?
Because she's just going to spend the luck and
No,
be done with it.
Yeah, I am.
Because she has a ton of luck.
Yeah.
I'd rather she not botch the roll by accident and screw our actual 2 successes here.
That was my thought as well.
I had a ton of luck once.
Didn't we all?
The 3 of you enter the building. Afterwards, I assume, Richard, you pull the door shut. and then head back out towards the square. So the interior of the basilica is normally the two of the three of you who have seen it is a magical place. At night, with a lack of almost any light, it is like walking into a cave, in that it is large and dark and open, and the ceiling glistens in what little light there is. What light sources are you using?
I have a small electric torch like we discussed earlier.
Certainly. Okay.
For since you recommend, that would be the one that would be recommended for what I was initially scouting for.
Mm-hmm.
I'm using Simon's small electric torch.
Okay.
Ditto.
So the three of you are able to make your way through the basilica, the exterior that leads to the exterior pathways off of the main portion of it towards the chapel that you'd found, the dark little chapel. And you get the sense in this chapel as you enter it that there is something strange about its shape, at least in the sense that it isn't shaped like the other ones that you'd passed before. It's almost as if it's been changed or modified in some way. And so, since Mr. Fraser was the one who'd located the stone, and since he is not here with us inside, I'd like all of you to make a hard spot hidden roll to find the stone that he was talking about.
Just look for the drips of candle wax.
My spot hidden is 63, so I have a pretty decent chance, I hope. 14. Rolling hot.
Would I get a bonus for being there with...
You absolutely would.
I have a hard success, 14 under 63.
Hold it for a moment.
Keeping these dice.
Maggie is a fail. She is still thinking about Richard's chest.
That is a 30 under 45. It is not a hard success.
So, 30 under 45, Simon, you find the stone that he was standing over when he dripped the wax. And you are pretty certain that you've got the right one. On the other hand, Lady Elizabeth is across the chapel in a totally different place. Lady Elizabeth, what you found here is that it's not the stone so much that's discolored, although it is a little darker than some of the other ones around it. It's the grout. The grout between the stone here is dry and somewhat cracked, not like the rest of the chapel. And even when you lightly push against it, this grout line, it's fairly flimsy.
I'm going to wave my walking stick in Griffith's direction, just because I'm trying to be quiet to get his attention.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure if I don't notice it, she'll wave it in front of my face or bop me on the head, so one way or another, she'll get my attention.
Okay.
Mr. Griffith, Miss Bellinger, over here. I think I found it.
Well,
Thank goodness.
Simon, just to make sure, will take a coin out of his pocket and put it on where Fraser was before he walks over.
Smart idea.
I'm going to point out the discoloration in the grout and how flimsy it is. I believe this one was moved at some point or put in much later, which would fit with our friend depositing the piece here. Shall we?
Sure, just a moment. Miss Maggie, are you getting any weird mojo coming off of it?
No, it doesn't work that way. I'm not like a magnet for them.
You're not?
Does anyone here possess geology?
They're like a magnet for me.
I think I might.
I definitely don't.
What we need's a miner.
38 under 48.
Okay. So the stone that she points out, Simon, the mortar around it crumbles at a touch to this paving stone.
Well, Simon is feeling that even if this doesn't turn out to be right, this stone at least was moved after the floor was put in, so it's definitely worth checking out regardless. Right. So I'm going to slide the crowbar out.
Okay. So it's a strength roll.
$69 under 80.
Okay. You press the crowbar in and then very, I assume, gingerly move the stone upward to try to get leverage with the crowbar so you can get your fingers underneath it.
Well, what I'm going to do first is, since you said that the mortar is friable, right?
Yeah, it's fragile.
I'm going to go ahead and chip out a section to insert the crowbar, and also chip out some on the sides to loosen it up so it'll pop easier without making noise. And then I'm going to lever it up some. How big is this piece?
It's big enough that you're going to need two people to lift it. You will not be able to lift this on your own.
Understood. What, weight-wise? How?
It's probably 300 pounds.
300 pounds.
It's an enormous stone.
I can help you, Simon.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Maggie. I'm wanting to put something here to hold it for a moment, so let me lift it a little higher, which I do. Slide the crowbar in a couple inches so it's propped underneath the crowbar, so we now can put finger holds and lift it up.
Okay.
Did that make sense?
I think so. I mean, it made sense to me. You're really just trying to get enough space underneath it so you can actually get a handle on it.
Exactly, but also so it won't slip and crush our fingers with the crowbar underneath.
Correct. It is still a strength roll between the two of you.
I hate you, Mike.
I rolled an 88 over 35.
I rolled an 86 over 80 now.
No, there's no advantage for you there, but the Hand of Fate is going to allow you to re-roll that.
Okay.
Me too.
And that will be a 73 under 80.
No, not you. So there's way more grunting in this chapel in the next 20 seconds than there has been in the entirety of its existence. But you managed to get your end of things up, Simon. It's really, Maggie, you struggle mightily with the amount of weight that's here. And you struggle to the point where you get it up high enough where you can move it, but it is going to, you're going to lose control of this stone.
Lady Elizabeth, a little help.
Lady Elizabeth, that sound comes out way too loud. It echoes throughout the chapel.
Do be quiet, Miss Bellinger. Difficulty's no reason to get loud. And I'll try to help her with the stone.
Okay, it's a strength roll.
Okay. Not my best stat.
I believe in you.
Well, let's see how well I do with my 35. Ooh. I'll spend 4 points of luck and make that a success.
Okay. So the three of you managed to get the stone over far enough. And while you don't pick it up very high, you get it off its landing spot. And you manage to come away with all your fingers.
What do we see under?
Darkness.
Is it a hole?
It is a hole. Are you going to reach your hand in there?
Does it look like the hole you would put your hand in, or the hole you would drop your body down into?
It looks like it's big enough to drop a body in.
I hand Maggie the flashlight.
Oh, thank you. I guess I will begin my descent into the hole.
Very good. Is anyone helping you down into the hole?
I will be happy to lower her into the hole.
Very good. So with some assistance from Mr. Griffith, you get lowered down into the hole. It's about 4 or so feet deep. The depth of it is just a little bit to the point where you become uncomfortable as he's lowering you down.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know that it's likely a little too high to climb out of immediately. And I'd like all three of you inside the building to make me a listen roll. Our investigators who are outside, I would like you to make me a spot hidden roll.
Dice are not on my side, but I have a pretty good listen. Yes, finally 33 under 77.
Okay.
So, hard success.
008 under 60? Yes, 60.
Okay.
I rolled a second odd one. Do you want a picture?
No.
I'm sorry. I'm in complete shock at the moment.
That's pretty fantastic. Gentlemen outside?
Yeah, this doesn't bode well for me. Professor Courtney, would you care to do the honours? Roll first.
Unfortunately, poor Richard rolled a 78 over 64. But I think he's probably aware of the fact that it's nighttime and perhaps he's not seeing as well as he could, and maybe he'll sort of step out from the shadows a bit and see if he can maybe get a better look.
Okay.
The new lucky black dice.
Are they, though?
No, they're not. That was a 98.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so I would assume then the both of you had missed it.
I've not rolled mine yet.
Oh, please roll, sir.
Yeah, I was just letting... is that a fumble on the push, Martin?
Oh, clearly. Yeah, no.
That is a normal success, finally, on a spot hidden. 76 under 80.
So, Richard, across the square, you see 3 men, clothed in black, exit out from one of the Galleria buildings here. And you see strapped across one of them is something that looks like a large caliber rifle. And it completely draws your attention in. You become panicked, flush with concern that black shirts have found you, or somebody else who's hunting the simulacrum is here, and you go into full-blown panic.
Look over there. Here's a rifle. Look.
Where? What?
Over there. The 3 of them.
You have no idea what he's looking at.
What are you looking at, Professor? There's nothing there. It's shadows, man. You're imagining things.
No. There were 3 of them. They've just come out of the door.
I don't see them.
Richard will grab Mr. Fraser by the shoulder. No, come on. We must leave. Wait.
I don't know what you've seen. I didn't see anything. I think you're starting at shadows.
No.
All right. Well, let's get a little closer.
Wait. We don't want to get any closer. We want to run away.
Are they coming this way? I don't see them.
Oh, are you blind, man? Come on, quick.
Apparently so. With my normal success, do I see anything of interest?
Well, you certainly don't see any black shirts. Maybe it's the way the light and water ripple around here that's casting shadows on some of these buildings. You're not really sure what the professor is on about, to be perfectly honest. But other than that, with a normal success, sir, you don't see anything amiss.
Would it be advantageous of me to try and make that a hard success by pushing the roll? Because I'm willing to do that if
absolutely.
Yeah.
It would be advantageous for you to find this information.
So I'm going to say to Richard, look, I don't know what you've seen or what you think you've seen, but I don't see how a black shirt can have gone the way you're saying. It's just water over there, man. They'd be walking through the water. We'd both see that easily. Look, you stay here. You keep an eye on them. Make sure they don't come this way. I'm going to go over and see if I can get a different angle. Maybe I'll see them if I go to the other side of the square. So I'm going to move from my vantage point across to somewhere else. I'll probably make myself quite obvious as I move across the square to try and see what on earth he's talking about, and maybe he did see something. Maybe I just missed it. Maybe I was looking the wrong direction. And I'll try.
Fair enough. Go ahead.
Push that roll. Here we go. That is a 10 under 80. Finally, I've succeeded in a push roll.
Good.
That's an extreme success.
It is. So you don't see any black shirts. You're certain of that, sir. What you do see chills you to the bone. And that is, on high, on one of these buildings that overlooks the square. You see the unmistakable ghostly form of a Revolutionary era French gentleman in a properly coiffed, powdered wig, standing on top of the building, staring down at you. He leaps from the building, down in the most graceful form that the human body has known, and lands in the square with just the lightest of sound.
Okay, so given that was sort of crossing the square, how far from me is he when he lands?
He is still a fair distance from you. I would say he's at least 30 yards.
I'm going to back off because I don't know quite what's happened and how. Is that a sanity roll for seeing somebody leap off a building and land gently on?
Yeah, it probably is, yeah. I mean,
because that's not natural.
No, it's not natural. Go ahead, sir.
Alrighty then.
I can't imagine that the penalty would be too terrible, but yeah, probably something.
So I've currently got a sanity of 43. So I'm fine. No, that's a fail.
Okay, I think we'll say D3 is reasonable for that. That could be a little shaky. Yeah, it's just one. It is one, but it's just one.
Yeah. Okay, so I think I think the fact that somebody has gracefully leapt off the top of a building, traveled down, I don't know what 50 feet more, whatever, to the ground, and just landed lightly on the paved area of the courtyard here is just not natural, not right, and Fraser's just going to back off a few feet and then just turn and leg it over towards where Professor Courtney is. Professor!
Have you seen them? Yes. Come on, quick.
No. Look in the square.
What? Do I see this man?
You look over. You do not.
What are you talking about?
Him. This. He jumped off the top of a building. He's landed in the square.
There's
it's not natural. It's some kind of apparition or I don't know what it is. We've got to get out of his sight. No, I saw him. He saw me.
Quick, before the three men with a gun. Come on, quickly.
Damn your three men and the gun. This man jumped off the top of a building and he didn't break his neck.
There's nothing there. That's why he didn't break his neck. It's because he doesn't exist.
Nah, your three gunmen don't exist.
Yes, they do.
Look, we don't have time to waste squabbling here. Come on, let's just go. Go this way.
Yeah, let's run.
So,
are they loudly yelling this in the middle of the plaza?
I would say that their voices are elevated, and yes, they're in the plaza. But we'll put a pin in that for the moment. We will go back inside the basilica. And Maggie, you've just entered a deep hole.
Really dug myself a hole again. And so this hole is, you said it's 4 feet deep, right? So it's not, I'm not fully engulfed in it.
No, you are not. You are not fully engulfed in the hole.
Okay, Maggie will kind of, how wide is it?
It's actually wide. It's actually fairly wide. It's probably about 2.5 to 3 feet wide, which you didn't expect. It does seem to travel a little bit too. Like there's an area that goes deeper towards the center of the basilica.
Yeah, I will feel around and look around with the flashlight that Simon gave me to see if there's a passage down here or perhaps a box or something.
Look around. There seems to be an area that widens out about 15 or so feet that way.
Is this something I would have to crawl through?
Yeah, you would.
Okay. There's a tunnel here. I'll be right back, but you can follow me if you'd like, but or keep a look out.
Simon.
Maggie starts crawling.
So Simon, this is going to trip off probably something in your brain. Maggie is not a miner, and she is now crawling underground somewhere.
Lady, this is something I might need to accompany her on.
Well, if you insist. So, are you quite certain you can fit down there? I'm sort of peeking into the hole.
How big is it down there, Miss Maggie? And I'm whispering this. I'm speaking directly into the hole, so
Yes,
it's
you're
not
whispering
like
down in the hole.
Oh, it's a pretty tight squeeze. I don't know if you'd make it through or not. Probably not. It's okay. I'll be fine.
You've heard that before.
If I need anything, I'll shout.
Very good. She has given you her opinion, Simon. What I want to know is, are you taking that for truth, or are you going to find out how big the hole is yourself?
Also, Maggie just doesn't want Simon to come because she risks then that he will touch the item first. And so she's really just saying this not necessarily because she doesn't think he can fit, but to kind of deter him from following her.
Is she trying to persuade him directly from the hole?
I don't know if I'd say persuade directly as much as deter, but she's not going to be insistent.
Very well.
All right. Well, hell. Did our listen rolls pick up anything, by the way?
Yes. So your listen rolls pick up movement, footsteps in the larger portion of the basilica. They don't necessarily feel like they're coming closer, and it's hard to tell given the amount of echo that the basilica can have. But you do hear people walking, or at least a person walking around.
We may have a guard or company.
Yes, I rather think we need to be quiet.
There's an altar in here of some sort, since this is a chapel?
Yeah, you bet.
Lady E, why don't you go duck behind the altar, and I'll stay here by the hole.
All right. Just quiet.
Understood. I'm always saying this because you're the slowest one here, no offense intended.
None taken.
Okay. So you're going to go hide behind the altar, as it were?
Yes. Just to be out of line of sight.
Certainly. Simon, you're going to go where?
Well, I lowered Miss Maggie into the hole, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she was able to touch bottom while I was holding her?
Yep.
So about how deep I think the hole is?
Probably 4 feet or so. I mean, you could easily get up and down the hole, but you're much taller than she is.
Right, but can I climb into the hole and crouch down for the moment out of the way?
Certainly.
I will do that.
Okay. You crouch down into the hole, and you get out of sight. Maggie, you continue forward. Undaunted. The cavity that you move yourself through, there are a fair amount of dust coatings on the stone in here. So it's clear that whatever has gone on above, either it's shaken some of the rock or it's produced some sort of dust. It's all over the tunnel. Now, whether this was at one point a tunnel or a foundational line, you're not sure. But you move probably about 20 or so, 15, 20 or so feet deep in, and you see that there is it looks like some sort of stone block that sits along the back end of this where it dead ends. The flashlight finally finds the end. And you see an outline, a dust outline. The dust that's around here is thick, and so it coats the surface. And that outline is perfectly shaped as a leg. I mean, it's been missing for years, but it's only been missing for years, not decades. This is supposed to have been placed down here in the late 1700s. But it's been taken. That's easy for you to ascertain.
I knew we were getting to it too easily.
Lady Elizabeth, footsteps enter the chapel. And a light as well.
Well, that's no good.
You can tell the light enters because the chapel, the associated finery around here begins to shine a little bit. And the footsteps purposefully walk towards the front row of the chapel steps.
I'm just going to hold still.
I would like you to make me a stealth roll.
Oh, God. I've already made one.
And
Don't tell me. Someone hand-of-fated me again.
they did. But they're going to put you at advantage for this roll.
What? That's good. I'm gonna need that. Thank you, Hand of Fate. We went from a 67 to a 17.
You hold your breath. It's the longest 30 seconds of your most recent life. You don't remember when you've had to hold your breath this long, but every single part of your chest is daunted by this task, but you continue to redouble your efforts. And eventually, the footsteps move and become distant.
I'm going to stay where I am until I can't hear the footsteps or see the reflection of the light anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if I'm certain I'm alone, at least alone other than Mr. Griffith in the hole, then I'll slowly ease my way back out and start breathing again properly.
You ease yourself back out and stand back up, which feels really good. And across the podium, there is a very small piece of paper.
Well, let's have a look, shall we?
You turn it over, and in very fine handwriting, it says, "Join me for a drink, Elizabeth?" ?
I may or may not let out a very unladylike word. So Mr. Griffith might hear a very low, fuck.
But at least Miss Maggie won't.
So, Maggie, in the area that you find all this dust, you also locate a small yellowing envelope.
Oh, well, I will open it and see what's inside. I have the flashlight here.
It's sealed with wax. The wax seal shows a winged cherub set against a shield. The cherub cradles a doll.
Crack it open. I would start to come back in the hole, out of the hole. I don't know if I'd be blocked from exit by one Mr. Simon Griffith.
You would find Simon in the hole.
Simon will get out of the hole and help you out.
Fair enough.
Well, the leg is gone. It's not here.
Well, shit.
It's been taken, but I found this. Someone left a note that they took it.
Who would do that?
I don't know. It seems strange, but they did leave a note, and I would share it with them.
Well, how about we all get back to the hotel and out of here first?
Yes.
Can you help me move the block back?
Oh, yes, of course.
So I'll pass on the strength test for bringing the block back for sake of ease. I would say if the two of you are going to do it reasonably and slowly with the aid of the crowbar, you're able to get the block back to cover the hole. Although Simon and really anybody else that would look at it too would know that there is no way to show that someone didn't remove this stone recently. It's impossible to cover that up without having, grout and paint and time. So,
right. But the key thing is at first glance in the dark, while we're trying to get out of here, no one's going to figure anything out.
Correct. So with that, the investigators inside the basilica very quietly and very carefully make their way back out. As far as Mr. Fraser and Professor Courtney go, where did you two gentlemen end up in your endless search for boogeymen?
I think it rather depends on what this figure did when I saw it and started running from it. Did it seem to chase after me? Because I know it was looking at me when it was on the top of the roof. When it landed, was it still looking at me? Did its intent seem to be to come at me?
Indeed. Now, you ran away, rightly so. So you lost sight of it after that.
Yes.
When you got back to Richard, you turned around and clearly it wasn't there.
So, because there was a bit of space. So, what I think I'd like to do, if Richard is not going to work against me, and I don't think he is from the sound of what he was saying before, is just basically run down the street, run round a couple of corners, and then kind of come to a stop, motion to Richard to be still and silent, and just wait and listen and see if I can hear whether it's still coming.
Give me a listen roll, both of you, because I assume that Richard's going to be looking to pick out whatever noise might be coming as well.
Ah, that's a success. 43 under 50.
You hear the occasional footsteps around the area. It's one of the most heavily trafficked areas inside this portion of the city, so...
My listener's not much better than that, but 56. Well, goodness me. I just rolled a 08.
You don't hear footsteps, sir. What you do hear is the wind, and above your head, you see fog.
No. What is it?
Not again.
And that is where we'll call the episode to a close. So thank you so much for our fun in the Basilica this evening. We enjoyed it. I'm certain that nothing will come of the note that was found, nor the fog that was seen. Everything is perfectly fine. Just promise me you'll see us next week. Thank you and good night.